Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Mars4 and Barnsey. This particular video is just going to concentrate on the so-called face on Mars. Last video we looked at the skull, and I explained that how it was a dual image of actually two skulls. Looking in different directions. I had a little look at this face here, which is definitely a face very similar to this one, but for whatever reason people have never really picked up on this particular one. But in many ways it's even more impressive than this, because this is actually, this does have like two eyes, it has a nose, a mouth, it's got a motif on the centre of the forehead. It's brilliant. I love it. I love that particular image. It's brilliant. But anyway, what I want to do is just concentrate on the famous face on Mars, if you like, discovered by the Viking orbiter, 1977. And when it was first discovered, it was just dismissed as by I think he was called Jerry Soffen, who was the manager of the Viking project, and he turned around and said, "Oh no, it's just a trick of light and shadow." When we re-imaged it a few hours later, it all went away, which was a pack of lies apparently. And ever since then there's been a lot of controversy around this particular image. You've got one side said, yeah, it's definitely a sculptured face, and then you've got the mainstream side, if you like, NASA and ESA, saying, oh no, it's just a mesa, just formed through natural processes over millions, if not billions of years. And the people have been arguing the toss for years on it. It's, in my personal humble opinion, for whatever it's worth, because I'm not a scientist, I couldn't prove one way or another whether this was a face or not, but in my humble opinion, this is a sculpture. And I'm not just basing it on the fact that I think, from everything I've seen of it, indicates that it's artificial. Obviously I'm placing all the other evidence that I'm pointing out that relates to this face. There's multiple sculptures here, not just the face. NASA and ESA like to narrow the focus, if you like. When we talk about anomalies on Mars, they go, oh yeah, the face on Mars, and the pyramids on Mars, and that's about it really. And they would just like people just to focus on one or two particular anomalies, and then they can concentrate on debunking them and stating to everybody that it's just natural formations, when they're not. And to narrowly focus on these two particular anomalies is a massive mistake, because nearly everything we can see in Cydonia has been artificially altered. Everything. It's when you look at this and you really think about it seriously, it becomes self-evident what we're looking at. These aren't just random formations, in my humble opinion. There's far too much evidence in this single image, in these ESA images, to indicate that a culture once lived on Mars. It was very they were either human beings or they were related to human beings, and Mars was physically and emotionally connected, if you like, to Earth, and the evidence is here. Look, we can see the evidence clearly when we look at these sculptures. And the more you look at them, the more that you will see that they are sculptures. There's absolutely no way that these were formed through natural processes. In my view, it's nearly impossible. And anybody from NASA or ESA that argues that these are natural, I'm beginning to think that rather than me be the crazy strange person for thinking these are sculptures, I'm starting to think that they've got a major problem. I really do, because you cannot people dismiss this, right, because we've virtually been brainwashed for decades now in thinking that all this is an optical illusion. It's all down to pareidolia, it's all down to imagination, it's all down to interpretation, and that these these features are just natural, and any likeness to human beings or animals or birds is purely coincidental. Now, I just think it's just how they can stick to that argument is just beyond me. I just don't understand how they can stick to that argument. I don't even know how they get away with it. I think people, when maybe they watch the likes of my videos, are thinking Mars, at the very least it's gonna have aliens on it. It's not gonna have like human beings or animals, that we can recognise from Earth. It's an alien world, but it's not like that. It's not like that at all. Mars must have been more Earth-like in the very, very recent past. It must have been, and it was inhabited by mammals, by human beings, that gave birth the way we do. They looked like us, they thought like us, and it's all here. All the evidence is here. And for NASA and ESA to carry on trying to get away with pulling the wool over our eyes is a travesty. It's an injustice, especially when all these images were paid for by the public. All this money has come out of public purse strings, and for whatever reason, especially NASA, they're completely trying to cover this up, completely. And when I look at this, I just cannot understand how they managed to get away with it. I really don't. I think it's a blatant lie. I think they completely and utterly lie to the teeth at these news briefings. The evidence is there in plain view, and I think when ESA published these, they let the cat out the bag. I think they let the cat out the bag, and for people who really want to know the truth about our human history, it's there. The evidence is there for people to see. As this image, the face on Mars, the very famous face on Mars. Now, I have mentioned this before. People have tried to mirror image, or other researchers have stated that really the face should be mirror imaged so that we can see what's really here. And as far as I'm concerned, they're on a completely and utterly the wrong track. Anybody mirror imaging any of these images here are on the wrong track. I'm absolutely convinced of that. I think it was a desperate attempt, mirror imaging, to make a full face by people who desperately wanted, a visage of two eyes and two nostrils and a mouth with teeth. And like I said in my last video, I started talking about it a little tiny bit. You can't have, if your depictions of animals and people and your artistic design revolves around contour, variety and duality, you cannot have mirror imaging at the same time. It just will not work. The only way these work with like contour, variety and duality is if we don't see the full face. If this was a full face, we would not be able to see the reverse of it. Let me show you where I'm coming from. Okay, let me just I'll show you. I am using some NASA images in this, by the way, and for the simple reason that these are supposed to be the highest resolution images of the face ever taken, up to 3 feet, 2.5 feet, 3 feet, 90 centimeters or something like that. This is an MRO, Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter view of the face taken at 90 centimeters. Okay, and this is supposed to be the absolute clearest you'll ever get of the face. And in all fairness, the basic outline of the face is good. That's all I'm talking about, the basic shape. You can see that the platform is geometric. You can see that it's pretty even top and bottom, and the sides and everything's pretty good. And you can actually see like the pupil, the eyebrow and the mouth. And I'd say it wasn't a bad image, but unfortunately for us, for the researchers, what NASA have gone and done is basically stripped every single bit of detail out of the image. Okay, so what we're literally only seeing the basic outline. Okay, that's all we're seeing. There's so much in this image that has been just smoothed out and completely taken out, because this is full of sculptures, it's full of structures. It's completely unlike this MRO image, which is supposed to be the very best that you can get. And they've taken virtually every single bit of detail out of it. But because obviously when they imaged it and they published it, they've got to show us the face. They've got to show us it. They couldn't not show it. Okay, so we're still getting the basic outline of what's here, the basic, very very basic details of what's here, right? And it was built perfect by the culture that once existed here. And what I mean by that is that one half of this is the depiction of a human being. Okay, the right hand side was never meant to be the equivalent of this side, if you like. Okay, the left hand side, or as we're looking at it now, the western side, if you like, was the human side. This side has nothing to do with forming a full face. This was what I'm saying. This was never a full face, and then over a period of hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions of years, it become eroded and it fell away through mass waste. And it was never meant, and it was not a part of this clearer side, if you like, in the sense of being a full face. Okay, because I believe that this side is our sculptures, right? So you've got the left hand side is the visage of the face, Osiris to be exact, okay? And this contour here is not just a mad, crazy, random, eroded pile of rock and rubble. In my humble opinion, although it's going to be very hard for me to prove this, I think these were sculptures, okay? And through the years, they've started to slip down the side of this mound, down the side of the mesa or whatever. And where they've put the sculptures in, they have naturally eroded or fallen away, because this side maybe is more prone to the weather or the wind or erosion, okay? But I think this side consists mainly of sculptures, and that's what these are, sculptures. But it's virtually impossible for me to prove that, okay? If we just go to this one, this is a Mars Global Surveyor shot. It's supposed to be I think about 2 or 3 feet resolution, okay? And if you look very, very carefully here, when I look at this, right, I'm making an educated guess on this now because of what I've found across the image of Isis and Osiris and Seth, and the mythos of Egyptian mythology, if you like. And I've sort of made an educated guess as to what we're looking at here, and I can't be 100%, but this to me looks like a woman, like the sculpture of a woman with her eyes closed. She's got like quite a big nose, she's got a downturned mouth, there's a jaw there, you see a cheekbone, and she's wearing like a shawl that comes down like this, you see that? And you can only really see that in the Mars Global Surveyor shot, which was taken in 2001. The MRO shot, which I've just showed you, you cannot see this face because it's basically been obliterated by the image specialists that have processed the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter images from the high-rise camera. But I can see there definitely a human face, a very sad female face. I can see 2 eyes, I can see like the big nose, the downturned mouth, and the shawl. And then here, I get the impression, I might be wrong, I don't know, but this reminds me of like a headdress here, and then we've got the forehead, and we've got a big nose here, and then we've got the mouth. Now, I may be completely off the mark, I don't know, but I'm taking an educated guess at it because of what else I've discovered. And this side is the visage of Osiris, if you like, the final moments of his life, to be exact. And here we have his love, his divine, the other divine love, Isis, next to him, looking at him. And then here, with his mouth open, maybe smiling, I'm not sure, is Seth looking at him as well. Because don't forget, we've been looking, if you go to my last couple of videos, we've been looking at the triangle, haven't we, of Osiris, Isis and Seth, and they're always together. Yeah, I can see it. I can see the face, and I can see the shawl. She's wearing a shawl, but I could be completely off here. But I do believe that this side was never meant to be a mirror image or an exact copy of this side of the face. Okay, I think they built perfect, because don't forget, it's telling a story. And I'm going to show you now exactly what I think's going on there. So if we go back to our MRO shot, Okay, now this is supposed to be the very, very best image of the face anyway that you can get. Now here you can't see that face, can you? You know, you can't see the woman's face at all there. You can still see like a little bit of the shawl, but you can't see a face because it's been obliterated. But in the Mars Global Surveyor image, you could see a face there. I could see it. And this is pretty much unaltered. Okay, but what I'm going to show you now, I hope, is going to convince you that I'm correct in what I'm saying here about the contour variety, and this side being sculptures and not an equal side to this face. Because if we spin this round 180 degrees, what we can see now is Osiris, but in the form, he's dead. He's now died, right? Osiris has now passed away. Okay, and we can see that his eyes closed, his nose is very small now, and his mouth, the eye, this was the eye, now it's a downturned mouth. Can you see that? It's a downturned mouth. So this is where the contour variety comes in. If the other side, if this side had been a perfect face with teeth, two nostrils, two sides of the lips, two eyes, you would not have been able to form this image. It would not have worked. But now we can see where the contour variety comes in, the duality, because when you flip it over, now he's dead. Osiris has passed away. He's even wearing a helmet. I have pointed out in one of my other videos Osiris wearing like a warrior's helmet, and in death, on his final moments on Earth, on Mars if you like, if this legend originated on Mars, I'm not too sure, but in his final moments of life, he's wearing his warrior's helmet again, and he's in a position of death, with his dark eyes, his nose, no flesh on the nose, and his downturned mouth. That's what I think we're looking at now. Osiris is now dead. And if we look here, if you look there, we can see that this, well, it looks like, to me, it looks like a sculpture. And the telltale on a lot of these opposite sculptures to Osiris, meaning Seth, is the nose. See the big long nose? So there's an eye there, you've got a long nose, and you've got the mouth and chin area. But in this case, he's wearing like a mask over his face here. See this? This is like a mask, and it flares out here, and it's like a V-shaped motif here. I hope you can see that. I hope you can see where I'm coming from, because I do think that is a sculpture of Seth again. Like, look at the nose. You can see the long nose, the mouth, the chin, and he's wearing a mask. Now don't forget what I said last time in one of my previous videos, that Seth was supposed to be ugly. He was supposed to be an ugly person, and maybe that's why he's wearing a mask over his face, as a symbolic attempt to hide his features. And remember I said about he's always with like a bear, because he was supposed to be a prisoner in the Pleiades, which is located in Ursa Major, which is the big bear. And this outline here is I think, is the visage of that bear. So you've got Seth here, and then beneath them here you've got a bear. This is why this is so unusual. Why it's so uneven and it's funny, because it's a sculpture of a bear, which is Seth's symbol, and it has been since we started looking at these particular images in Cydonia. Like I say, guys, I mean, this is only my conjecture of what we're looking at, but I'm sort of basing it now on educated guesses after what I've discovered right across this image, and I can make guesses now that maybe other people might not be able to see because they haven't put it all together. But because I've put like quite a bit of this together now, I can see things that are popping up that I would never ever have seen in a million years. But now I can make, quite a good logical deduction as to what we're looking at. So here we're seeing Osiris in death. He's wearing a helmet, yeah, and this is Seth with the long nose, and he's wearing some kind of mask. And this is the bear, representing the Ursa Major, the big bear, who's always with Seth. As go and have a look at some of the other videos, you'll see where I'm coming from. This isn't isolated. This is not on its own. It's connected to all my other videos. It's all there. It's coherent. It's not just random. I can assure you of that. Okay. Some of my deductions might be wrong. I don't know. But I don't think I'm a million miles away here, guys. I really don't. And I'm going to sort of prove to you now that this does represent the death mask, if you like, of Osiris. So just okay, this is the Esser image, by the way, and it's more or less the same. When you turn it round 180 degrees, we get the same sort of contour variety. You can see the death mask, you can see the helmet, you can actually see what could be another eye here. So you've got one eye there, you've got another eye there. There's the helmet's coming down. There's the mouth, okay, and then you can see Seth with the long nose, the eye, and there's the bear there, okay. But believe it or not, guys, there's more in this than in the MRO, okay. There's much more in this image than there is in the MRO, and the MRO is supposed to be 10 times better than this, which is a load of rubbish. I'm telling you, it's a load of rubbish. There's all sorts of sculptures here, loads and loads of sculptures all over this. There's a big massive, what looks like some kind of tower here. You can actually see the tower there, and then there's a shadow underneath it. Yeah, it's amazing what's actually in this image. Here there's a massive pyramid. You see that? There's a massive pyramid there, and you can even see the shadow of it next to it. And you can see that tower again. Can you see that tower there? And there's structures all over this. But that is a giant tower, and you will not see this in any NASA images at all. You will not see it. All you'll see in a NASA image is a flat two-dimensional surface. You won't see none of these little structures. The eye here is like two-tiered. There's two levels. You've got the top layer, and then you've got another layer here with entrances all around the eye. See, these dark areas are like entrances. You will not see that in NASA images. If I just point that out to you there, you can actually see a sculptured face. Yeah, See the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and it's actually smiling. It's massive, massive, massive sculpture, and there's all sorts of buildings and everything on this. You can see that this isn't flat. These little like valleys, these are all valleys and everything. It's not flat at all, you know. And we can see that there's a hell of a lot going on. I mean, look at that pyramid there. You see the, you know, like a big tube coming out here. Can you see it? Massive, massive. It's either some kind of like massive edifice or like a tube of some sort. And you see the pyramid there. You know, but when you look at this image, where's the pyramid gone now? Can you see it? There's nothing there, is there? It's completely and utterly erased. It's just disappeared. You can't see the openings and the double tier very clearly. Everything looks two-dimensional. So all the structures that I've just pointed out, remember the sculptured face that was over in this area? It's gone. It's completely and utterly been wiped out. It's gone. And all this white stuff here has obliterated all sculptures and entranceways underneath the face. This has all been smoothed out and erased. You won't find nothing. Very, very difficult to find anything on this. Okay, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you something which I'm going to hope is going to prove that what I'm saying to you is correct, and that this is the product of a culture that once existed here on Mars. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spin this round. Okay, so now we're looking. Oh, I'll tell you what. Just let me go back to this, because when you put this face into the yellow plate, here's what we get. Right, so this is just the yellow plate. Okay, and you can see that it's the depiction of a human being, and if you look very carefully, you can also see that the face isn't looking up into space, it's looking this way. It's looking at like a 45-degree angle, if you like, down this way. Yeah, and we can see the nose. The nose is absolutely perfect. We can see the mouth. Yeah, and like I say, this isn't a face. This is multiple sculptures on the right hand side. So this side was covered by this white. I don't know. I liken it to like a cement or a polymer or concrete or something. I don't know. And not only did it cover like a lot of all over Cydonia, you know, it covered the structures and everything. I don't know what type of material it was, to be honest with you, but a lot of places it's eroded from a lot of places now, but it did cover a lot of the structures and sculptures, this white concrete polymer type, whatever it was, but it's still some left on the face, and you can see quite clearly it's a human being. And when you look at it very, very clearly, you can see the nose there, but when you look here, you can see what looks like another nose. Can you see that? See the way it comes down? And you think to yourself, well, hold on, why has it got two noses? One there and one there. And here's where we go to the heart of the contour variety, because this was one of the clues, as well as it looking like a human being. This was one of the clues that started me breaking this down. Okay, so if you reverse this 180 degrees, remember I said to you that the right hand side looked like the visage of a dead person. What can you see there? You can see what looks like a cadaver. It's a dead individual. This was the mouth. Now it's a squeezed like eye. This was the eyeball on the other side, on the other 180 degree turn. Now it's an empty downturned mouth. Yeah. And remember I said to you, the nose. Why did the other side always have had two noses? That's the reason why. Because now we've got a fleshless nose here. You see that? And okay, you can't really see the rest of the stuff, because what I've done, I put it in the yellow plate, and then I messed about with the contrast and the brightness to bring out the white cement concrete like structure, so that you can see exactly where I'm coming from with this. So what we're looking at here now is a visage of the dead Osiris. Okay, and I'll be honest with you, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's a perfect image of a dead person. Yeah. So when I looked at it, I thought, okay, he's being portrayed as a dead individual, if you like. But what is he? What is he looking at, or what's his alignment? And I'm going to show you now what the alignment is. Okay, so just let me go up there. So I need to go back to this image, and I'm going to show you. So here's the face, okay, and in its dead visage, is a cadaver here, right? So what we need to do, okay, so what we need to do is just get the I'll tell you what, I'll just get the line tool. Okay, and then what I'll do is place, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul, don't they? And this is exactly what this is portraying, and I'm going to explain that now to you. So if I draw a line here across the map, now can you see the passageway here? And we go directly down the centre of that passageway. Yeah, I'm talking directly down the centre of it, and we'll stop there. Okay, now if we just reduce the size of the picture, this is where Osiris is orientated here. Okay, so he's dead, and what we're looking at, in my humble opinion, right, is the eyes here, the dead eyes, the windows to the soul, are the launch pad to the soul of Osiris, right? And this is why he's looking in this direction, and it just coincidentally goes between and down through this passageway. You see that? It's the only real passageway that looks like that anywhere on this map, and he's looking through it, and then this is the target. This is where his soul ends, if you like, or shall we say begins. Okay, so he's looking at this feature, and this is one, in my humble opinion, this is one of the most amazing things I've discovered here. Out of all the things I've discovered, and I've enjoyed, you know, so some of discovering some of these immensely. I mean, some of them have been just unbelievable, but this corroborates really everything I've been saying about the journey that Osiris has been on, and its correlation with the mythos of ancient Egypt. Okay, because in death his soul has begun a journey. Okay, and it's gone through this passageway here, which there's more to this than meets the eye, but I'll have to go back to it when I get time. So his soul comes through here and then rests here. This is the start of the next phase of the journey of Osiris. Before we seen him and he was alive and he was with Isis, he was the divine lover, he was the king, and then he was murdered by Seth, and now his soul is on a journey to be reborn, and it literally is, and I'm going to show you, because here what we can see here is like it looks like a shellless snail, we'll call it a shellless snail. Okay, it's like a cliff face, it's like a cliff, like a mound, and it's in the shape of a shellless snail. Okay, and you might think to yourself, well, God, what's he going on about, a shellless snail? Where's the logic in that? And at first I was the same. I was saying to myself, Christ, well, why would a snail be on Mars? You know, everything else is like up the wall, and trying to describe everything, trying to make comparisons with Mars and Earth, and now I'm like a raving lunatic talking about snails and what's all that about. But when the ancient Egyptians placed someone to rest, they always used to provide them with food and water, because they thought that even though that person was deceased, he was going on a great journey to the afterlife. So he still needed some kind of sustenance. He still needed some kind of food and some kind of water. Okay, and this culture in Cydonia loved birds, absolutely loved birds, and I've shown you Isis holding a couple of birds, didn't I? But there's loads of other images of birds in this, which I will get round to showing you sometime. But they loved birds, right? And I think, and I will try and prove it to you before, maybe this video, maybe a couple in the next couple, but this culture believed, as far as I can make out, that when you died, your soul was reincarnated in the form of some kind of bird, right? This particular culture had a thing for birds, if you like, and I think they must have thought that when you died, your soul was reincarnated as a bird. Okay, and the only thing I can think of why they may have needed, like, why is there a snail here, is what's the stereotypical food of a bird? Snails, isn't it? Insects, snails, worms. So this to me is sustenance for the soul of Osiris on its journey, because he's now being killed by Seth, hasn't he, through the passageway, for his journey to the afterlife and rebirth. That's the only, and I have found other indicators that I am correct in what I'm saying to you. It's not just wild, crazy talk. But again, I'll have to come to it another time and show you what I've found. But that's what I think that is. And if you look very, very carefully at this here, what does that look like here? If you look at it very carefully, it looks like a mouth, doesn't it? If you look at it very carefully, it looks like a mouth, and that is exactly what it is, a mouth. And it's like what we're looking at here now is like some kind of symbolic creature, like a symbolic monster, if you like a bull or something like that, and it's got an open mouth, and it's even got downward V-shaped cliff, like a cliff edge here, like a downward, which give the impression of teeth, like jaggedy teeth. See them there? And there's the mouth, and this snail just so happens to rest right in the center of this mouth. Okay, and if you look very, very carefully, you can see that the rest of the face, yeah, you can see an eye, you can see the nose, central nose part, you can see it's even got a bull's ring in. See, this is like a bull's ring. You know when you see them rings and that they have in the nose of bulls, that's what that is. And this other depression here makes up the eyes, and you see the way it comes round here, it comes round there. So what we're looking at now, if I've built the picture up correct for you, is some kind of symbolic monster. Yeah. So the soul of Osiris in death is now flying, if we can say that, through the passageway, directly through the passageway, into the mouth of this symbolic monster with the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the bull ring, and the mouth with the jaggedy teeth. And it just so happens, very coincidentally, that there's a creature that looks like a shellless snail, and that's what it is, a shellless snail. Yeah. And so he's got a sustenance, and he goes under. See this here? The resolution's much too small on this, but there's statues and that. See along here, there's openings and the statues along there. I can't show you them because they're too small in resolution. It's just that I've looked at these in every type of brightness and contrast, and every now and then I could just make out what looked like gigantic statues standing, garden entranceways, and that's what I believe that is. Yeah. Okay, just let me. Okay, I done this, brightened it up for you, because that other picture image was a little tiny bit too dark. But anyway, there's the snail here, the shellless snail. You see that? I hope you can see that. There's the mouth, and then we've got this terrible monster. So Osiris has moved in underneath this, underneath this structure, which is the entrance maybe to the duat. And in Egyptian religion, if you like, when a king or a pharaoh died, or they had to go through trials and tribulations, if you like, to be reborn in the underworld. And this face, this monster-like face, to me represents the trials and tribulations that Osiris has had to go through to be reborn. Can you see that? Can you see the ring with the big, like a dome, but like a metallic dome there? See? So anyway, as he moves underground here, and he's going under and through the monster, through the trials and tribulations, what can you see there? What does that look like? Don't forget, we've got contrariety, we've got duality, So it's moving forward. He's moving forward underground, and then about here we've got a joining of two animals. We've got this symbolic creature, and then here, see here, we've got another creature appearing, another animal appearing. Can you see what it is? Can you see? There's the body. There's the neck. You can see the head, the beak. You see the beak? The eye. And you know, on like chickens and some birds, you see like a, I don't know what the term is for it, but you see like a scraggly bit on the neck. You see that? And there's the neck, and then we come to the body of the bird, and there's its wing, and it reminds me of a dead bird, which is exactly what's being portrayed here. Can you see that? Just let me place that on its side. Can you see the rounded head and then the beak, the eye? There's the little skin tag on the neck, and then it comes round here. Yeah? Can you see that? Just let me rotate that forward again. Can you see it? There's the head, the little scraggly bit on the neck, the skin tag, there's the throat, and then we come into the body. And even from this angle, it actually looks like a bird, doesn't it? Like with no feathers. Yeah? Because that is exactly what we're looking at. A bird. So if I just... There we go. So it's a dead bird. So let me push that forward again. Okay, so now we're back to the other side. So Osiris, he's had the sustenance of the shellless snail, and there's the teeth, the mouth, and then he's going through the duat, through the monster. He's facing the trials and tribulations to be reborn, and then he passes through the body of this dead bird, which may be an analogy to the phoenix, where the phoenix died every 500 years and then was reborn on a pillar of fire. And the dead phoenix symbolised immortality because it never died. It was always reborn. It was either born from a golden egg or from like a worm-like creature. And there's even a further analogy to that in this image, which hopefully I will get to show you. So I hope you can see where I'm coming from here. Yeah. And it's so anyway, we haven't finished with this, guys. Not, you know, so he goes through. So his soul is going through, and then we're coming this way now. So we're coming this way. Don't forget, this is all symbolic. I mean, you could most probably, in reality, live under that. There's mostly structures and everything underground. I think there was just as many structures underground as there was above ground here. But let's keep on with our like narrative. So anyway, the soul of Osiris is still journeying, and there's a creature here, looks like a bird. It's very hard to see in this image though, but don't worry too much about it. It looks like something like a penguin or something like that, and it's got two thick legs and like a beak and like skin decorations on the top there. And they've tried to they've tried to blur it out, and I think this has even got some kind of like a medallion or something like that around its neck. And then the structures here, you can't see them very well, guys, so I'm not really asking you to be too bothered about that. Again, this is like a face here, but this is our goal here. This is what I want you to concentrate on a little bit. This here. Can you see it? Can you see what I can see when I'm looking at this? Because what I can see here is the profile of a human being, right? I can see don't forget this is being cut out the rock. This is flat, right? It's relatively flat because it's been carved out of the rock, because this is a sculpture. Yeah, and what we can see is the two eyes, the nose and the mouth. There's the chin. These are entranceways here on the bottom, and this particular person, who I call Ra, R-A, the sun god. I've give everything a name relating to the Egyptian mythos, so we can sort of follow it a little tiny bit easier. But I call this particular individual Ra, the sun god, okay? And he's wearing, if you look very, very carefully, he's wearing a crown in the shape of a bird, okay? So it's got like a round head, it's got a beak, it's got an eye, there's a round head, and then this is like a wing. See, this is like, can you imagine Mercury with his winged helmet? This is what this is to a certain extent, okay? So it's a human being, but I'll call him Ra, the sun god, because he's very, very bright and contrasted out, and he's wearing the crown of a bird, okay? And here, this is Ra. One is an arm, this is an arm, and this is a hand. See this is a hand, okay? And he's holding something in his hand. See here, can't see it very clearly. And when I first saw this, right, I thought, is that more food? Is it another offering? Is he about to eat? And then obviously it dawned on me exactly what it was, and I was just flabbergasted, because the soul of Osiris takes its nourishment, if you like, the shellless snail, because it's in the form of a bird. It travels through the symbolic monster, the trials and tribulations. It goes through the dead bird here, which may be a representation of the phoenix to be reborn, which I'll go on to that a little bit later on. The soul travels through here, and then what this sun god with the throne, with the bird crown on its head, is what he's looking at is the reincarnated soul of Osiris, because I think that's a baby bird. See that? That's a baby bird, right? And that's the reborn soul of Osiris contained within that tiny baby chick that's been reborn. And he's not looking to eat anything, he's actually looking lovingly, if you like, at this reborn image of Osiris. His soul has been reborn in a bird, in a baby chick, and that's what he's looking at. And I know it's hard to see, guys. I know some of these things you might think, oh, he's stretching a little tiny bit here, and there's just no way that, but you know, it all fits, doesn't it? Everything I'm pointing out to you fits. And if you think about it logically, I haven't even had to try very hard, have I, to fit my conclusions into these structures. And the reason why I haven't had to try very hard, guys, is because this is why these were built. They were built so that you could follow the story with very, very little trouble. If you opened your eyes. If you opened your eyes, you could see the story from start to finish. And this is the immediate end of our narrative, if you like, our story of the life and death of Osiris, because I've always said, haven't I, from the very beginning, that this image was an image of birth. If we go back to one of my last videos where Isis is giving birth, isn't she? Let's say to Horus, because that's who it is in the mythology of Egypt. But I showed you the fetus, didn't I? A lion on her back and she's asleep and she's got the warrior's helmet on, and you can see clearly that it's a fetus, and the baby, the fetus is pointing to the helmeted figure of Osiris, which is the father, and Osiris is looking at the fetus, and everything I've shown you is connected in some way, in some form. I haven't just invented all this and thrown it all in. I'm actually taking the information that I'm telling you from this image. I haven't had to work at it, believe it or not, guys. You know, the basic storyline, I mean, it's been very difficult for me to get this across to you. But the basic story is one of birth, one of life, one of death, one of love, the divine lovers, one of jealousy and hatred, Seth hated Osiris, and then we've got, you know, the death of Osiris, which I showed you in the face, and then his journey from death to rebirth through the trials and tribulations of this demon, this monster, reborn through the dead phoenix, which was a symbol of immortality on earth. And then he's here, he's been reborn as a baby chick, and he's held in the arm of Ra, with and, you know, like I say, he's wearing a crown of a bird. So that's what that is, a baby bird. This is a bird. This is a symbolic dead bird. That is a bird. Remember I said to you about Bennu Island, and there's the bird looking at Ra. Well, it's not looking at Ra, it's looking at the rebirth of Osiris. Yeah, you see that? And there's more proof that this is very important moment in this image, but I'm going to have to show you that on another day. If it just come out of that, because this was very bright, I've had to try and bring out this. I don't know if you can see the beak and the bird's head a bit better, and the wing, and can you see the arm, and I don't know if you can see a little tiny bit better that, you know, that it is a chick, and you see the face looking at the chick. And this thing here is dead weird. It's actually being manipulated, guys, by the way. I didn't, you know, it was something I didn't really want to go into, but the image specialists who processed this also decided to have a laugh at our expense, and they actually put a smiley face on this. You see the two eyes and nose, and see the big smiley face, and here is a hand with two fingers up there. See that? And it's wearing like a big medallion, like a stupid medallion. Because I've seen other images of this where it hasn't been altered, so I know exactly what they've put on the image. Yeah, and that's definite proof of an image manipulation there, with the big smiley face and the stupid medallion that they decided to mess about with. But I hope you can see that there, that it is, and it's sculptured into the ground. See the way it's sculptured. Again, you can just about see the structures there. See in the bottom of it. And there's that bird I did point out some of the time. See it spread out wings and its beak, and it's looking directly at the face. Okay then guys, I hope you found the video interesting. It's a little bit speculative in parts, but I have done my best to try and point out the main relevant details of this image. Um, there's so much more in it, and what I'll most probably do is start like showing different areas, different parts. I just, what I'm going to do next video, I'm going to prove that this is what I say it is, and it's the actual rebirth of Osiris. Okay, because there's a lot round it that I need to point out to you that'll reinforce what I'm saying, but I've got to finish the video, otherwise it's just going to go on for too long. Okay then guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope I come across clear. Sometimes I stumble and fall trying to pass this information on to you, but I'm pretty certain I've got the main portions of the image correct, and I just hope that I've come across coherent and logical for you, and I hope you can understand where I'm coming from with all this. Okay then guys, wait for the next video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for watching. I always appreciate it, and please comment, and if I can clear up any facts that you're not sure of, I'll be happy to do that. Thank you very much. Bye bye.